Tabani music.
Hi guys, welcome to BTM Afrika. My name is NYDJ, and you know this is a channel where we bring you all the exclusives, anything entertainment, anything that has to do with creative arts. We are the go-to for all that kind of entertainment news and exclusives. Not too long ago, we had Sarkodie here, we had Kofi Kenata here, and this time I'm bringing you an exclusive, not an interview, but of course something that you may be interested in. I'm pretty sure so you've heard about the death of Ghanaian high life legend, that's a musical icon, Charles Kwadwo Fosu. Well, yesterday, there was an announcement as to when his funeral will be held, as in the day that his final funeral rites will be held in Kumasi at the Babara Sports Stadium. That's on the 6th of December, 2025. However, something is coming up. There's been a lawsuit, and we are wondering how the family was able to announce the final funeral rites or the date when there's a pending lawsuit at the Kumasi High Court. I'm sure you are wondering who filed that lawsuit and what is that person or the plaintiff actually seeking for. I'll share that with you in no time. But before that, let's listen to Collins Owusu. That is Collins Owusu Amankwa, who happened to be the coordinator for the funeral committee. He was also a former member of parliament for Menchia North in the Ashanti region. Listen to him on DLFM when he announced the final funeral rites. And I said, Daddy Lumba, you know, Kumasi. Listen to this. When we are back, I'll share the details of the lawsuit with you. This is BTM Afrika.
And say your studio ha na me kan asisu dua se afena abrewa ayi poma kwan ama eye adehye abusua a corner family of Pakoso ni Nsuta abusua panyini eye ora Victor Kofi Owusu boy ono na oye head of the family for Ekwo abusuano ono so na oye chairman for funeral planning committee jina na nemu sanse ode na no asem ahye ya no anopai se yemfa entudwa enfam from mem say with broader consultation ye no nyina yakọ menhia yakọ aban fikasiem asin konwa ene abrochefo nya di nkomo ababa besi so se nyankopon de yenkwache ye ne a eye bronya bosome na wotwe a edikan ne da eye 6 December
DLFM
2025
DLFM
na ye the late Daddy Lumba final funeral rite no eye yipon no ebe hihye so bia ebe koso eye Kumasi Sports Stadium Baba Yara Sports Stadium.
All right, so welcome back. I'm pretty sure you've seen the video. Credits to DLFM, Honokoyesa interview now, or my announcement, and as the day that the final funeral rites would actually go on. So, Obekaya, and if you paid attention very well, you realize that he mentioned, say, Abusapanin and Nkrophobia Tnasia Fide Mama Okwain, and he's speaking on behalf of Abusapanin. He mentioned the name of the Abusapanin. I'm asking you to pay attention to that name because that Abusapanin has also been sued in this particular lawsuit. What is the lawsuit about? Let's get into it. Now, the question is, who actually filed this lawsuit and why is the person filing a lawsuit against the individuals? So, one, the plaintiff in this particular case, and Anipa or filing lawsuit in the Akosua Serwaa Fosu. I'm sure the name rings a bell. Yes, Akosua Serwaa Fosu, Oba Daddy Lumba, in Germany. And Dudona nim say or Lumba year and 1 week in Accra, she was there. So she is filing this particular lawsuit and she filed it in Kumasi on the 2nd of October 2025. 2nd of October 2025. And that was about 7 days before, and I said about 5 days. 5 days before, say, Collins and so be announced a final funeral rites. So you ask yourself, how come there's a case in court And then again, family no decided to announce a final funeral rites. Now, baby sound say, okay, or filing suit in court, but who is this suit against? Why am I defendant? And I say, why am I Osu Osu nipa 3. Nipa 3, the first one, Abusapanin Kofi Fosu. So bet utie na Collins boy na Abusapanin Kofi Fosu no. This individual you can't say ono na ma ho kwan and I say Collins speaking on behalf of ono na Abusapanin. So Abusapanin Kofi Fosu is the family head, Lumba, a family head. The second person, Priscilla Ofori, our friend Odo Broni, Ghana Handudo also names she was married to Charles Kwadwo Fosu, Daddy Lumba. She's the second defendant in this case. And the third defendant, Transitions Funeral Home. GD's account Transitions Funeral Home, you know what they are about. Almost and a year to 2 years, most of the times, high profile funerals, I don't know. Almost a the case is now between Akosua Serwaa Fosu and address here Germany. And Abusapanin Kofi Fosu, Priscilla Ofori, our friend Odo Broni, and Transitions Funeral Home. Now, baby, who say, they ain't no file a lawsuit. And I said, they ain't no this assembly court. Now, their crown put now say a court ne be mano. Maybe kind a statement of claim like a cratch or send a bear obehu the into the assembly court. And I say, dear opesa court ne mano. Now, the plaintiff is the wife of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba, who is deceased. That's according to the statement of claim. Into Akosua Serwaa the wife of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu. The parties got married on the 23rd of December 2004 under the German law at the Civil Marriage Registry, Bonn, Germany. Into Akosua Serwaa say on Daddy Lumba on the 23rd of December 2004 Germany. Under German laws, no German laws ne etia aware dodo asen so be ware 2 and more. German laws ne de monogamy. Unlike Ghana, customary laws no allow for polygamy. Into they got married under German laws, which is monogamous. That's what she's saying in the statement of claim. Again, I'll say the first defendant, which is Abusapanin, is the head of the deceased family who is resident at Ebuakwa in Kumasi. And the second defendant, the second defendant alleges to be the surviving wife of the deceased. There's Odo Broni, who is the second defendant, Okarine who and I say Okacha man for the surviving wife of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu, Daddy Lumba. The third defendant is a registered funeral home in Accra. Now, plaintiff Akosua Serwaa say she is the only surviving spouse of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu. Into the Obia Kabia no de or say or no pe and the only surviving spouse of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu. Again, or say during the pendency of their marriage, Emra no ne Charles Kwadwo Fosu awenya the baby ko etiase no. Most of the time they were ordinary residents in Germany. Again, or say through our area now ne Charles Kwadwo Fosu and Daddy Lumba and they have 3 issues. 3 issues in law. So I got 3 issues and yes, but 3 issues as offsprings and our children. And through our and Omanya and Kramiensa, the Calvin Kwadwo Fosu, already 31 years. Second one is Charles Fosu, already 24 years. And our last born Sierra Fosu, already 20 years. Again, plaintiff that is Akosua Serwaa say Charles Kwadwo Fosu on the 26th of July 2025 when emra owu ye no ma ware no eda so tiase asin aware ne ngu ye omunja aware inti emra Charles Kwadwo Fosu free mu no the marriage was so subsisting na is aware no ewo ho a yengu no inti no owo ho kwan se nhyehyeye bia e wa se oye as ekuna ewo aware no otime ye again or say ono any the only surviving spouse. And she's required to perform a widowhood rights. Again, I'll say the plaintiff avers that, however, the first defendant, that is Abusapanin, who has the responsibility of organizing the final funeral rites as head of the family, has informed her. Next, Abusapanin akache or no Akosua Serwaa say she will not be allowed to perform the widowhood rites. Tienio, according to Akosua Serwaa, Abusapanin akache or no Akosua Serwaa say. Enya dia obema ho kwan amana performing widowhood rights. Den itina omma ho kwan. Yen kan say emra ayi ananse emra Lumba 12 foforo no. Be kan say interviews because my Abusapanin ne ka say ono the only person na onim no Akosua Serwaa. Na Odo Broni ne kra onim no say or your Lumba wife any ade into a day in the buyer some radio or say according to Akosua Serwaa lawsuits and all kase Abusapanin say on more no ho kwan e ma ne widowhood rights and I say on dikuna no. Point 12 say the plaintiff affirms that the death of her husband and I say after the death of her husband the second defendant, that's Odo Broni, has shown up claiming to have children with the deceased, hence a wife to the deceased. According to Onono, a free Emra Lumba who and a second defendant, that's Akosua Odo Broni, Eden Huaba say, One Lumba Wamba, inti Ono, and a surviving spouse of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu. The plaintiff affirms that the first defendant has also indicated that he will rather permit the second defendant to perform the widowhood rites. Next, according to Akosua Serwaa no, Abusapanin no any Odo Broni, and omayo say omobeye eye no. Na Abusapanin na ka che ono Akosua Serwaa ne say obema Odo Broni mom ana edi kuna. Nti omma ono wo be kai edi kan ka say Akosua Serwaa so Abusapanin say omma ne edi kuna na mom say no che say obema Odo Broni mom ana edi kuna. Again, the plaintiff avers that the second defendant cannot legally perform the widowhood rites as she has never been married to the deceased. It according to Akosua Serwaa no, ono feels say any kwans Odo Broni timi dikuna because oni Lumba anware Lumba enware ne da into no nim di enti a ono mom de wase odi kuna ewe yi na se. Point 15 or say the plaintiff affirms that the first and second defendants have already started printing invitation letters containing the telephone number of the second defendant towards the organization of the final funeral rites of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba. There's onya hint. There's a quiet as a yiness in chain crown because you're printing invitation cards, you're sending out all these invitation letters. Akosua Serwaa no any moshi and I send BB any home, but Odo Broni numbers and a also. There's a yiness in chain no. Into the entire audit no mayako court. Now say the plaintiff avers that unless this court intervenes, she will be deprived of her rights as the only surviving spouse. She will be deprived of her rights as the only surviving spouse. 17 Tiha or say the plaintiff affirms that the defendants have deposited the body at the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu at the third defendant's morgue with the pretense that the second defendant is the surviving spouse. Tonight say Oshema plaintiff no say Charles Kwadwo Fosu Daddy Lumba and the body no ye de akwa to morgue no baby funeral home no ye kan ho asem mo ye third defendant no ye the body na akwa to ama second defendant no put up say ono and a surviving spouse into no pen access to the body I betimi aye home bibi. 18 say the plaintiff avers that the third defendant is preparing to release the corpse. Next a funeral home na ebom din so a party to the suit as ye third defendants no. They are preparing to release the corpse to the first and second defendants, Abusapanin and Odo Broni, without recourse to the law. Indeed, these are some of the things that Akosua Serwaa the issues no and answer assembly court. Now, or share nim se court ni be amano because in pain you do some court and be this open court ni be mao. Inti na the assembly court. So the question is, a dear intina Akosua Serwaa a file a lawsuit etia Abusapanin no. Etia Odo Broni and etia Transitions Funeral Home, aka Enterprise Funeral Home. Then and our court no ebeyamano. That is where you can say reliefs. Into she's seeking a number of reliefs. Now reliefs now seeking 4 of them. 4 of them maybe share all the reliefs that she's seeking with from the courts, no with you. First one, or say Senkebeya, an order of this honorable court, that's the High Court in Kumasi, declaring that the plaintiff is the only surviving spouse of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba. Inti some of the court nyina say beya court ni ntie nsem na onhwehwe mu ma no. Na court ni declare say ono pe Akosua Serwaa no pe the only surviving spouse of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu. The second relief I was seeking say an order of this court declaring that it is only the plaintiff who has the right to perform the widowhood rites of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba. Now, also say chemu say court ni declare man say ono pe say ono surviving spouse the anes ono pe ne betimi adikuna ewe yi na se obi entimi ndikuna biem inti ono pe ane betimi adikuna. The third one say a further order restraining the first defendant from ever dealing with the second defendant as spouse of the deceased. Inti ochim anase opese court no ema order say first defendant, that's Abusapanin no, Any crimes so timi dealing with a second defendant no Odo Broni. Any crimes so huno so on a surviving spouse of Daddy Lumba. Into no any crimes so on dealing with a year no crab BBR. And the fourth relief are all seeking an order restraining the second defendant from carrying herself as the surviving spouse of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu. Tineze, Opeso Chese, court in Chese, Akosua Broni, Odo Broni, sorry, Odo Broni de. Only who right be or carrying the who say or a surviving spouse of Charles Kwadwo Fosu because already Opeso Chese, Yanya the who de. Into the day into now carry who as a surviving spouse of the late Charles Kwadwo Fosu. Into these are the reliefs are Akosua Serwaa Ede Esiki wabro the case na court. Now the question is, will the court actually grant these reliefs? Court ni tie ne nsema. Enye so wakaka we na nkran na court no grant is okay, I grant into no kwedi kuna. Odo Broni intimi ndikuna. Odo Broni any other people na yesu yom Abusapanin ne enterprise company na almost a funeral home no almost would have to file their defense. Was almost court, no almost court say okay, say ni into the so yes. Now court ni tie nsem the afenu ni nyina asem court ya, then the court will now decide say okay, who de bem and now who defo and our reliefs now seeking a bit the way am I am far way more. Into as a stance, this is a matter that is in court as of the 2nd of October 2025. Me names a defense for no your friend is BBI a friend is say almost so almost entire appearance in court. Enra, that is the 8th of October. 8th na ebusuafo for no be announce say ye be year on the 6th of December and that same day and a defense then so enter appearance in court. Next asem e court enye ndin wie inti e ban say and ebusuafo no timi announce the date for the final funeral rites. Next, one here contempt of court be no because as a court I ending we nipa ni place injunction near the day. A ban is saying I'm also go ahead, announce the date for the final funeral rites. So this is what is happening between Akosua Serwaa Odo Broni Abusapanin and transitions funeral home. As I told you, this is an exclusive that I want to share with you on BTM Afrika. Say updates be aba ya bebo modern say bema monsaka. It's say we legal matters and some of the legal matters may mean to me from my drink can home mean come out mean chair my dream home. Dear a lawsuit to and answer rate of summons no and making kayama no in the rate of summons and answer statement of claim ne documents with normal wa filing in we have a marriage certificate in German. I translated to English and it's no money. We have all those documents here. But mean to me finding and chase that is the situation as we find ourselves. Now this is making people believe say, hey, then one here year in the cross seat of December now ya announced one here as a court issue near to me and DD and we are now one here na date near Besesano and I see a bay anything. But uti munsua Abusapanin chese wako president ho wako two for ho wa company for no money na agree on the date omo be ye no. But the point is case ne court Akosua Serwaa peso dikuna opese court ne grant order say Odo Broni enya yere into ntimi dikuna. Here is the case in the statement of claim no waka say Abusapanin aka che or no Akosua Serwaa ne say o mani dikuna. Inti the question is saying the bekwa kowie we say be any HSM. So this is what we have for you on BTM Afrika. I'm sure you may have a comment you want to share with us. I try to break it down as much as possible. So maybe you'll be a bit me at yes, and say law issues. No, some of the terms be or be an hour and but my bomb so me breaking it down in me at so this is the point. And I said this is what is currently going on the 2nd of October. And Akosua Serwaa filed a lawsuit with Kumasi High Court. On the 8th of October, Anna Ebusuafo no through Collins ebe announce on radio. There ebe Daddy Lumba ye. On the same 8th, Anna defense, that's for defense for Odo Broni enter appearance or court. Tennis assembly that's what court. Into yamon pioneer hese de besi akosi. Say umbeti me di assembly or court ewie ni hese why ne be ni why ne be lucy kuna no why ne be di e ye ne cry ebe nya baso anase enya baso. This is BTM Afrika. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, drop your comments all across all social media platforms. BTM Afrika. Africa near AFRIKA. Make sure subscribe and leave you a comment. And look forward to the next interview on this particular show. Thank you for watching.
Tabani music.